It is that time of the week when we get an update from Faith Community Church. What's happened, is happening, and is yet to happen there. And we're fortunate this morning to have with us Pastor Brett White. Pastor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jerry. How are you today?
Best day of my life. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Oh, thank you. It's good
Nice
to be
morning.
seen. It is, yes. This weather that we've been having this year is much more to my liking. A little bit milder, not quite so humid.
How's the family?
They're doing very well.
Okay, first things
You've
first.
got a look in your eye.
First things first. Goodbye Brett is back with us this morning, and I think probably a lot of people are aware of the fact at this point that you and your family will be leaving our community, have had a calling to another community and congregation. Tell me what you want me to know about that, and then I'll ask you what you didn't want me to know, and we'll find that out.
Okay. Yes, we are leaving, and it's been a journey over the last 7-8 months, and it's been bittersweet, and we're coming to the end of that. Our last Sunday here in Red Oak will be September 7th, and I've been joking with people, we'll have the truck running and hop in. We'll actually be leaving Monday the 8th, and we are headed for Delhi, New York. We've received a call from that church to come and be the senior pastor there, and so we were there 2 weeks ago and visited with them. We'd been doing interviews and everything, obviously, over Skype and phone calls, and got to go visit. And it was everything that we had been praying for and believing that God was calling us to was there. So it was it's going to be a good fit.
Let's point out for our listeners that may not know how it works when a pastor goes from one church to another church.
Sure.
It's not as if you had to leave here, or...
No. It was a conversation that started all the way back in December between Pastor David and myself, and just starting to wonder, is it time for me to move on? And so we started praying at that point, and came to the conclusion after some time and a lot of frustration that it was time. God was calling us away from Faith Community. Wasn't our desire, and it took, like I said, it took a while to get to that point of accepting that. So then at that point, it was visiting with, we have a district superintendent that is over different geographical areas. So I started talking to my district superintendent here, the office is over in Omaha, and then just started sending resumes out. Each denomination is a little bit different. Our denomination does not force us to move. They basically wait on us. So my process was I sent my resume to the different district offices, and it's then up to the district superintendents to notify the churches of that they have my resume, and then so any churches that are open will call the district superintendent and say we've got an opening. The DS sends them my resume, and then it's up to them to make contact and do the interviews and the whole process with the church. So we did a Skype interview. They obviously checked references and all that, just like any other place would, and then set up a time for us to go visit out there, and what we call a candidating weekend. And basically what that involves is we had a meeting with the board, another interview with the board, a live interview with them, and I preached on Sunday morning and just met with some different people, and then their board votes whether yes or no to call us to come to that church. And then at that point, if it's as it was in this case, it was to approve it. So then it goes back to their district superintendent, and the district superintendent is the one that gives me the official offer.
So again, you will be moving where?
It's Delhi, New York. It's a small town in the Kcsi Mountains. I think it's more southern New York, but apparently New York everything north of New York City is considered northern New York. So I don't know if for those that are familiar with the geography of New York, if you go to Albany and then drive about an hour and a half west, it's right there on the western side of the Kcsi Mountains. And
how big a town?
Year-round residents are right around 4,000, but they've also got a state university campus there, so there's right around 2,000 students that are enrolled there, so right around 6,000 during the school year, so pretty close to where we're at here in Red Oak.
And what's the church like?
it's a great church, and they're going to have a great pastor, I hear. So,
Well, I would say amen to that.
well, yeah. The church is a little bit smaller than what people have experienced here at Faith Community, but really a lot of similarities. They've got a great focus on their children's and youth ministries. They've got a director that oversees those and has a couple of teams that helps with those, and they're just doing a great job. When we were there, we got to see their VBS kickoff, so got to see a lot of the people in action, so to speak, and they've got a great relationship with some of the other churches in the community, just as we do here. They've actually got a ministry to the college, the state university there. They've got a strong men's group that meets, and some women's studies that are going on, and yeah, so it's a good church. A lot of friendly people. So, although I did get chastised for one of the gentlemen that I met at a luncheon was wearing a Yankees ball cap, and being a Twins fan, I couldn't just let that go without a comment. And his wife was listening in, and she was quick with finger in my face to tell me that I am now in Yankee territory.
So I guess we'll take care of that before the 8th of September.
Well, yeah, I'll just no, they're not going to change my allegiance to the Twins. That's in my blood, Jerry.
Has school started there yet?
No, they start the Wednesday after Labor Day, so they'll start next weekend or a couple, whenever that is, a week and a half or so.
Do they have a radio station?
I'm not sure if they do or not. I know
You
they
didn't
have.
check on that,
I did
Brother
not
Brett?
check on that part, no, because I was just figuring that I would just listen to you online.
I see.
So.
All right. Good save there.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, that was a real good
Yeah.
comeback there.
Yeah.
I'll check on that and find out for you. And so, what's the retail section or the retail division of Delhi look like?
If you're trying to think of something that's similar around here, it's the main economy in the city is actually the education, both through the college and the high school, middle school, elementary. After that, it's a little bit of agriculture. There's some dairy there, not as big as what it used to be in the past, but still some. And then hay and a little bit of corn. And so the actual retail and everything in the town is more tourism for people who are coming from the city that have weekend homes or come up to vacation in the summer. And then some basic. They've got like a farm supply store and grocery store, and they've got a McDonald's and just things like that are so a little bit smaller and more of a tourist feel than what we would have here.
And your responsibilities there will begin when then?
My first official day there is September 11th, and then my first Sunday speaking will be the 21st. We're going to take a little bit of time to get settled in and not have a whole lot of responsibilities. So,
Obviously, have a place to live.
yes, yeah, that's one of the things that the church provides housing for us there. So,
Well, I'm happy for you. I truly know that you'll be greatly missed by this congregation and by this community and by Sunshine Country. I'm most appreciative of the work that God has done through you while you have been here. And it's one of those situations where you can leave, I would think, feeling good about your experience here, your contribution, and what God has done through you and your family here, and yet look forward to a whole nother opportunity now and a whole nother chapter to your life. It's a good win. Everybody comes out ahead kind of a situation.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and thank you. It's good of you to
Except
say.
that we're going to greatly miss your family.
And
And that's sad for us. But at the same time, looking at the big picture of things, it's a happy time for us because we know that you have strongly asked for God's direction and leadership in this and are following His will. And when people do that, that's a good thing, even though it separates us from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's where we thank you for saying so. And the hard part is, yes, we're going to miss some people here because we've got some really good relationships and some good friendships here that we've built over the last 8 years. And the reality is those are hard to leave. We like you said though, we're so excited because we have been seeking God and just waiting on Him and trying to figure out what His will is for us. And what I've been trying to focus on and remember too is that when for those of us who share a hope in Jesus Christ, this is just a temporary separation. We're going to have all eternity to sit around together and share experiences and worship together. So, yeah, it's a little bit hard for the leaving of the relationships, but those don't have to completely end either. We're letting people know, we're extending invitations for visits, and need vacation plans, you can go to the Catskill Mountains.
It's pretty country.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. I'm really sad to have to be going to the rolling mountains of
Okay.
of,
Okay.
of
Okay,
New York.
Pastor, that's fine. We don't need a
Yeah.
whole description and slideshow.
I have a couple of pictures
We
here if
don't
you'd like
need
to take a look at those,
pictures and a
Jerry.
slideshow and a PowerPoint. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah.
It's pretty country.
Yeah, it is, yes. And I'm really excited to see because, coming into the fall, the colors are going
Well, sure,
to be,
I understand perfectly.
Yeah. And one other
I
thing,
understand perfectly.
I was told too that when, we're only 3 hours from New York City, so we've had an invitation to go take the kids to Rockefeller Center in November when they've got it all decorated for the holidays, and so we're a little bit excited about that opportunity too. So
This is pretty country, too, in its own way.
it is, yeah. It really
Different
is.
way than
It is different, yeah.
LA,
yeah.
New York.
Yeah.
Pretty country also. Well, again, to you and Heather and to your family, I pray the very best for you, and I'd be anxious to stay in some contact with you and look forward to coming to visiting you and having you take us to New York City
That would be fantastic.
and
The door's open.
showing us around for a week or so. And I've never been to New York City, so
Yeah, I haven't either, so we'll...
we could stumble
That could be
around
an
together.
interesting trip, wouldn't it?
It could be a very interesting trip. So once again, you're leaving on the 8th.
Yeah, we will leave town on the 8th. Yeah, my last Sunday at Faith will be September 7th. So
Very good. All right. You are still here and have just recently completed a number of activities, one of those being Vacation Bible School. You want to kind of give us and our listeners, and again, Pastor Brett White, who is for a relative short period of time still going to be at Faith Community Church in Red Oak, is with us this morning. We're talking about the fact that they have been called to be the senior minister at a church at Delhi, New York, and will be leaving here on September the 8th to do that. But he is still here. He and his family still here. Let's talk a little bit about the Vacation Bible School. Give us a summation of what happened there.
yeah, we had a great week last week with VBS, and it was exciting to see. We had all kinds of kids. We averaged about 87 kids per night, and had 150 total kids that were registered for the whole event, and just had a blast with them. And we get to hang out with them and play games and eat snacks and talk about Jesus, and it was just a great week to be with the kids. One of the things that really impresses me, Jerry, about VBS is our volunteers. We have such a great church of people that are willing to jump in and help out. We had 85 volunteer leaders that were involved in our VBS, and that's just incredible. So just a thank you to all of those that helped out with that. So we met and gave the kids a challenge to raise some money for missions, and all of the money that we raise for these projects goes, the kids come and they drop it in a bucket, and we count it up and send it off, so we don't keep any of those pennies. They all go directly to the missions. And we offered a challenge for the kids that if they raised $4,500 in that week, there's two projects that were involved in that. One of them was for a place in an orphanage in El Salvador, and they have a water filtration or purification system that they make use of to raise money. They sell the water to raise money to care for the kids in the orphanage, and they needed a piece of equipment that would seal the big 5-gallon bottles of water that we use for at our water coolers. And so the kids raised the money for that, and then the other $1,000 was for the Dominican Republic. There's a small town in the Dominican that every house in that town is going to receive a water filtration system in their house for them to use so that they can have clean water. So it was just a couple of great opportunities for us to be involved, and the kids raised $4,550 for those two 2 projects. So yeah, we were just blessed and humbled that they brought all that in, and because of that, Melissa McDonald, who came to direct the VBS for us again this year, she had to kiss. Our theme was weird animals, so we got the idea for a weird animal for her to kiss if the kids, as an incentive for them to raise the money. So we had one of our
dad?
Yeah, well,
Huh?
that would be a little bit too extreme. We do like Melissa.
You're right. You're right. That would be totally unfair.
Yeah, so we have one of our young men at the church. He has a pet bearded dragon, and so Lucas brought that in, and Melissa almost had a heart attack, but she managed to lay her lips on this bearded dragon, and that was the prize for the kids. So,
And the total of how much was raised?
$4,550.
It's just phenomenal.
It is, yeah, over 4 nights. That's just it is.
And it isn't just the amount of money that was raised, but it's the way that it will be used and the benefits, long-range benefits that will come out of that contribution to those causes that you've illuminated there. It's a wonderful thing.
It is. Yeah, there's so many things that we take for granted. Just the opportunity to go to the kitchen sink and turn on the tap and get a drink of cold water. Most people in the world just don't have that privilege. And so to be able to help provide some clean drinking water for people is, that's very cool.
So another great year of VBS at Faith Community Church. Anything else about the VBS program that you'd like for us to know?
No, other than the fact it was, if for those that were there, they got to meet our new children's pastor, J.D. Kingery. He is now here and hard at work, so that was kind of his introduction to people, which was really great for him because he was able to. Just to be able to observe some of the helpers and the leaders that he'll be working with, and start to get to know the kids a little bit. So that was exciting to have him here. We're just excited about the opportunity. We love to be able to do VBS and connect with the kids in the community, and JD will continue those connections as we start to launch some of our ministries into the fall.
All right. What else is upcoming, Pastor Brett, that we should have on our calendars?
Those fall ministry kickoffs will be coming, and Pastor David will talk to you about those a little bit later. Looking probably in, for those that are wondering, they'll be probably in the middle of September that those will be coming up. And in the meantime, we don't have a whole lot going on, Jerry. We're just kind of kicking back. I'm packing a whole lot well, I can't even say that. My wife is packing. No, we've got a couple of primetime events. If you for those that are familiar, Primetime is our ministry to our seniors, and although it's a ministry to our seniors, we ask anybody that is welcome to come along. We do, Don Hladke does meetings with them once a month at Pizza Ranch. So Thursday, August 21st, and Thursday, September 11th at 6 o'clock are those next 2 meetings. So the 21st, actually Heather and I will be sharing at that one. And Don and I met and had coffee the other day, and he realized that in all the years that I've been here, I have not been invited to come speak to the Primetimers. So I finally got my invitation, and I feel complete. So Heather, actually, I think Heather will probably be doing most of the sharing, and that will be much more interesting for people than having to listen to me again. But she's just got a great story that she wants to share there. And then September 11th will be Dr. Bill and Allie Arthurholt, who are from our community. Bill worked here as a physician for hundreds of years. I'm not sure how long that was, but it seems like forever. So most people in the community know Bill, and he and Allie, since retiring from his medical practice, have been involved in a ministry that they go to, it's just an excuse for him to ride around in his Winnebago is all it is, Jerry. They go to RV parks and serve as chaplains. So that's it's just very exciting for them, and so they'll be sharing some of their experiences and the things that God's been teaching them through that.
I guess that ministry really caught fire, didn't it?
It really has. We've actually got 2 people. Okay, I see what you did there.
Well, I mean, literally, and
Literally, yes, yes, yeah.
as well as spiritually.
Yes, yes, yeah. That was pretty good. You caught me there.
Just for a brief moment, though. It didn't take too long before finally I held up the picture of the flaming motorhome, and you caught on. Thank goodness for cue cards.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So
a little quicker than Brother Dave, though. Usually I have to draw 2 or 3 pictures.
Well, yeah, he's a little bit older than I am.
Yeah,
so
quite
that
a little
makes
bit.
sense. Yeah, the connectors aren't quite as pliable.
But that is a really special story. How they've gone from what they were doing here to, and quite honestly, they were always involved in a ministry,
Sure.
a very real ministry.
Absolutely, yes.
But from what they were doing to what they're doing now, it's a blessing to see people that respond to God's calling and will for their lives and do those things.
Yeah, and it's so cool that we serve a God who wants us to be active, and whether that's right here, I love the phrase, you bloom where you're planted. So if you're here in Red Oak, Iowa, then that's the place that God has, and He's got work for you to do here. And so yeah, Bill and Allie were certainly involved. Bill served in our church on our governing board as an elder, and even through his practice, just through prayer and some of the spiritual warfare aspects that he was involved in, was a great asset for our community. And so it was a big loss for us just to be able to see them go. However, it's the same situation of what we've been talking about. Bill and Allie prayed and determined that this is what God was calling them to do. So that's what they needed to do, and so God's making great use of them in the RV ministry, which is really kind of cool when you think about it, because all these people from different communities all over the country, end up in Oklahoma or Texas or some other places that they get the opportunity to go down there and just serve those people, and a lot of them are away from families, away from their everyday normal, and Bill and Allie get to provide a little bit of that for them. So it's a great opportunity.
Pastor Brett White from Faith Community Church here in Red Oak, north on 8th Street in Red Oak, north side of Highway 34. Looking back now on your years of ministry here, Pastor Brett, what would you say, from your perspective, unique and special as it is special about what God has done and is doing at Faith Community Church?
Wow, that's quite a question. I think Faith Community has had the opportunity, even before I got here. Pastor David has had an incredible ministry here, and I think God has done an incredible work through them of getting people to understand that it's about that relationship, and it's about that walk of following Christ, and kind of doing away with the perception a lot of times with church is that it's the church that we grew up with, and that's the perception that we get, and that's really not always what God is calling us to. God is calling us to enjoy Him in relationship, and so that means that oftentimes the things that are important are the things that are going on outside of the church, through different relationships, through different connections and ministries that are going on that really have nothing to do with Faith Community. And I think that's one of the things that's unique and allows us to encourage people to be involved in the community, to start to think outside the box of some of the things that they're doing, and being okay with whether or not our name is even attached to it. And from my perspective, it's been fun just to be able to come into that, because Pastor David and Connie did such a good job of laying that groundwork and then allowing us to come in and join them with that. And it's really been neat to be able to have that freedom to be able to connect with the community, and by no means are we the only church that's doing that either. And it's been great to be able to have relationships with some of the other pastors in town and be able to work together, and just really focus on what we believe that God has called us to do. Is we get to focus on loving our neighbors rather than just building up our church. So.
And other than, I'm sure there'll be a real slump after you leave for a while, what do you see for the future for the church?
More of the same. I'm really excited for, like with JD, Pastor JD. I'm so excited for him because we've been doing some things over the last few years, some good things. I mean, we've had a fantastic team that's been working with the grade school kids, and we've done some things well. And Pastor JD now is able to come in and really focus full time on what we've only been able to devote part time on. And so I'm just expectant that his ministry is just going to take off and just grow exponentially from where it's at right now. And it's just so exciting to be able to hand that off, and just I can't wait to hear about all the good things that are going to happen with he and Amy and the work that they do here. And that's what it's about is every one of us at the church understands that this is all so much bigger than any one of us. Just like it's bigger than just one individual church, it's certainly bigger than any one individual pastor or leader. So whether it be Pastor David, whether it be Connie working with the youth, whether it be myself or anybody else there, our goal really has been to make sure that we're pouring into people other than ourselves. We're trying to reproduce ourselves. We had the worship seminar a couple of weeks ago, and that was in that same mindset, that same philosophy that Julie and Jonathan Showalter did, that not just to make themselves better worship leaders, but they did that to be able to offer it to their team that Julie works with, and also to the other teams and churches around the community, so that they would all be better worship leaders. Because understanding that we have to be able to multiply ourselves and be able to let go of people to send them to RV parks in Texas, so that people down there can hear about Jesus. Because if we just stay connected with our own little thing, we'll have a really cool church coffee club, but that's about it. And I think that would be I know that would be terribly disappointing to Jesus in the end.
Very well stated. Pastor Brett White from Faith Community Church with us. Anything else you'd like to tell us or you'd like for us to know today, Pastor Brett?
Well, I certainly want to take the opportunity just to thank you and everybody else in this community. We have been here, like I said, for 8 years, and this has been a tremendous place for me and my family. We have experienced a lot of growth here. We've had some good and some bad, some ups and downs, just like everybody else. It's normal parts of life, but it's just been a great place to raise our girls and just to do life together. And so we want to thank you and those others that are listening that we've been able to have impact with and relationship with. We are so thankful for the time that we've had here, and we're looking forward to continuing many of those relationships and visits back and forth from New York. The good thing is we live in an age where we can travel and we can stay connected. But just want to say thank you and just continue this. Like I said, this everybody that's got things going on. It's bigger than just Heather and myself. And while we will miss and be missed, it's not the end of the world. And we're certainly thankful for all the time that we've had. So
you'll be here 4 more Sundays.
I believe so. Yes. Yeah. Maybe about 28 days, but who's counting?
I see. Yeah. 12 hours and 13 and a half minutes. But who's counting?
I think you're right. I think it is 3 or 4 more. 4 Sundays, because I'm speaking 2 of them and David is speaking 2 of them. So yes.
It's 68 degrees in Delhi, by the way.
Is it actually? The weather is a little bit cooler there, and I love it because that's just the way that I'm wired. And I'm a Minnesota boy, so a little cooler and not as much humidity does my body good.
All right, so tell us once again, Pastor Brett White from Faith Community Church in Red Oak, tell us once again what the calling is the Lord has laid upon your heart at this point.
God has interrupted our ministry here to let us know that He is wanting us to engage in a ministry that involves me being the senior pastor of Delhi Alliance Church in Delhi, New York.
And you will be leaving here when?
My last Sunday here is September 7th, and we will be heading east the day after.
And our thoughts and prayers, and we pray God's best for you and for the folks in Delhi.
Thank you, and for here as well.
We'll be anxious to hear lots more.
Looking forward to it.
Be safe, and God bless you and your family.
Thank you, Jerry. You too.
Pastor Brett White, goodbye, Brett, I call him, and we certainly wish him the very best and his family, and know that God will certainly continue to use them to bring people to come to know Jesus as their Lord and Savior and find peace and purpose and meaning and fulfillment in this life and the assurance of life yet to come. Again, our thanks to Pastor Brett for being with us on this Thursday morning from Faith Community Church in Red Oak.